On this, James Dorsey joins us now, adjunct senior fellow at the Rajaratnam School of International Studies, joining us live from Singapore. James, thanks indeed for your time. So to what extent do you think this latest move by the US will indeed apply maximum pressure to Iran?
Well, I think that what is clear is that Donald Trump wants a negotiation, but believes that he will only get Iran to the negotiating table if he applies maximum pressure. The problem here is that there's a tremendous gap of trust and confidence, obviously going back decades, but certainly reinforced by Donald Trump's withdrawal from the Iran nuclear agreement in 2018, and the failure of the Biden administration to truly re-engage. The issue at core is that the United States has always wanted to talk about more than the nuclear program. They have wanted to talk about Iran's ballistic missiles program, as well as its relationship with non-state actors across the Middle East, in Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas, the Iraqi Shiite militia groups, and the Houthis in Yemen. Whereas the Iranians, certainly after the withdrawal by Trump in during his first presidency, have always said, return to the nuclear agreement as is, and only then will we discuss anything further.
Yeah, and with hindsight, with 7 years of hindsight, I mean, how successfully do we assess that decision by Donald Trump back in 2018?
I think it's been a failure. Iran is much closer to a nuclear weapon, if it wished to have one, than it was at the time of the Trump withdrawal from the agreement. Iran, up until the Trump withdrawal, had stuck to the provisions of the agreement. Everybody was in agreement that it had not violated the agreement. And in fact, if you look back, it took a year for Iran to start going beyond the provisions of the agreement and violating the agreement. It gave the United States a year to try and come back, and that didn't fail. So overall, this has been a failed strategy that really has made things worse rather than better.
Yes, and more generally, how would you assess Donald Trump's seemingly freewheeling attitude to foreign policy since he returned to office?
Well, I'm not sure it's a freewheeling attitude. What I think we're seeing, and not totally unsuccessful to be fair, is a shock and awe therapy, putting out a maximalist position, trying to shake the tree, shift the paradigm of the discussion, and then back off to some degree. So you saw that with Europe and Ukraine. The effect of Trump's policy has been that Europe has moved into high gear to significantly increase its defense spending, something subsequent U.S. presidents have tried without great success, and at the same time try encourage Europe to take a much more activist position in its support for Ukraine. You see that also on Gaza. His beachfront proposal resettlement of the Gazan Palestinians has led to an Arab response for the first time, something concrete and a plan that the Arabs have put forward since the war started 16, 17 months ago. So in that sense, I think we are seeing some sort of result. Where does this lead to? That, I think, is a $64,000 question.
Well, yes, because it's all transactional, isn't it? He talks about always wanting a deal and the art of the deal. And, you know, his critics would say he's making statements without any thought about the consequences, or indeed taking the risks into account. His backers would say, well, he's using all the tools at his disposal.
Well, I think that the proof is in the pudding. While it's too early to draw a definitive conclusion, we have seen a degree of results on the Ukraine issue in terms of Europe. We're seeing movement in terms of the Arabs trying to step up to the plate when it comes to the Palestinians in Gaza. It's early days. Whether that is really going to produce results remains to be seen. but it is movement that, to be fair to Donald Trump, former presidents have not achieved.
James, thank you very much indeed. I always appreciate you coming on the programme. James Dorsey there joining us live from Singapore.
Aaron, always a pleasure to be with you.
Good man.